This time we're going back to the year 1263, to what would be remembered as the Battle of Largs, and how the humble Thistle became elevated to the national flower of Scotland. The Battle of Largs took place on the 2nd of October 1263 between the armies of the King of Norway, Haakon IV, and the King of Scots, Alexander III. Alexander III might ring some bells. In just over 20 years' time, he will fall from a Fife cliff to his death and inadvertently start the wars of Scottish independence. But for now, he's just 22 years old and he is heading west. Largs is on the Forth of Clyde on the west coast of Scotland. As a political mass, Scotland looked very different to how it does today. The mainland unification under the control of the King of Scots had been hard won. The border with England had been hard fought and would be fought over again. And the island territories were controlled by the King of Norway. Both the Kings of Norway and the Kings of Scots claimed overlordship of this territory. But for the inhabitants who lived there, it made very little difference because their own lords of the islands operated almost entirely independently. Tensions over this territory had been escalating throughout the early 1200s, and in the 1260s it was really reaching a head. Late September, the armies were mobilised again. The Scots army is marching across Scotland, the Norwegians are sailing down the west coast. There was a huge storm, and the big fleet of the Norwegians was split, and they landed in two different places. They think they can regain the upper hand by a surprise attack. The early hours of the morning, while the Scots camp is asleep, they draw the boats up onto the beach and they disembark onto the sand. Now they've got heavy protective gear, they've got their weaponry, they're weighed down and they're trying to move as quietly as possible. A decision was taken that this would be assisted by taking off their shoes. So the Norwegians begin tiptoeing up the beach. They go up the sand, they move into the grassy dunes, and then one bare toe makes contact with a very spiky plant, a thistle, and a huge cry is let out. This noise, of course, alerts the Scots to the Norwegians' presence. They have time to grab their weapons and meet the Norwegians on the field. Politically, this battle didn't change a huge amount. Eventually there would be a peace treaty. The Western Isles would be ceded to the overlordship of the King of Scots. But the lordship of the Isles would actually remain very independent and wouldn't fully be under mainland control until the 1400s. Norway remained in control of the Northern Isles of Shetland and Orkney. What it did do was give Scotland yet another fantastic story and prove that even a humble thistle has the power to achieve greatness.